The alarm bells rang through the Terran Defense Command Center in Seoul. Admiral Hyun-woo Park rushed down the metal corridors as red lights flashed overhead. His boots clicked against the polished floor while officers ran past him carrying data, tablets and urgent reports. The year was 2387, and Earth had been part of the Galactic Unity Council for 50 years now. Humans were still new to the galaxy compared to other species who had been traveling between stars for thousands of years. Most aliens thought Earth was too dangerous to live on. They called it a death world because of the storms, earthquakes, wild animals, and changing weather that could kill anyone not prepared for it. Hyun-woo entered the main command room, where dozens of screens showed star maps and alien languages. Dr. So-min Lee stood at the center console with her long black hair tied back and worry lines on her face. She was the best alien language expert on Earth and could speak to almost any species in the galaxy. "Admiral, you need to hear this," So-min said as she pressed a button on the console. Static filled the air, followed by a weak voice speaking in broken human language. The voice sounded scared and desperate. "Please help us. This is the Villani people from Kepler system. The Ravak horde comes to destroy our world. We sent messages to Galactic Council, but they say we are not important enough to save. Earth humans, you are our last hope. Please come quickly before all Villani die." The message repeated 3 more times before cutting to static. The command room fell silent except for the humming of computers. Hyun-woo had heard about the Ravak horde before. They were a brutal species that traveled from planet to planet, eating everything in their path. No one had ever stopped them once. They decided to attack. Captain Jin-ho Kim walked up to the admiral. Jin-ho was one of the best pilots in the human fleet, with short black hair and sharp eyes that missed nothing. "Sir, our long-range sensors show massive ship movements in the Kepler system. It looks like the Ravak brought their entire fleet." Commander Yujin Choi joined them at the console. She was in charge of special operations and had trained in the harshest places on Earth. Her face was serious as she looked at the data. "Admiral, the Galactic Council records show the Ravak horde has destroyed 12 civilizations in the past 50 years. They never leave survivors." So-min pulled up holographic images of the Villani people. They looked like tall, thin beings with blue skin and large, gentle eyes. Their cities were built with flowing curves and surrounded by beautiful gardens. "The Villani are peaceful plant farmers," she explained. "They have no weapons or military. Their whole culture is based on growing things and helping others." Hyun-woo studied the images while thinking about what to do. Earth had only 200 warships compared to the thousands that older species commanded. The human fleet was small, but it used new technology that other aliens found confusing. Humans had learned to build ships that could survive anything, because they came from a world that tried to kill them every day. "Show me the Galactic Council response," Hyun-woo ordered. So-min brought up another message on screen. The council speaker was a tall gray alien with 4 arms who spoke in a cold voice. "The Villani request for military aid has been reviewed and denied. The Kepler system holds no strategic value, and defending it would cost too many resources. All council members are advised not to interfere with Ravak operations." Jin-ho shook his head in disgust. "They are just going to let the Ravak eat an entire species because saving them costs too much." Yujin crossed her arms. "The council has always been about politics and profit. They do not care about right and wrong." Hyun-woo walked over to the large window that looked out over Seoul. The city stretched for miles with tall buildings reaching toward the sky. Millions of people lived down there, going about their daily lives. He thought about how Earth had faced extinction many times in its history. Asteroid impacts, ice ages, volcanic eruptions, and wars had all tried to wipe out humanity. But humans always found a way to survive and help each other. "Sir," So-min said quietly, "there is something else. Our deep space monitors picked up Ravak battle communications. They have already started bombing Villani cities from orbit. The attacks began 2 days ago." The room went quiet again. Everyone knew what that meant. Millions of innocent Villani were dying while the galaxy watched and did nothing. The Ravaf would strip the planet of all life within weeks, and then move on to find their next victim. Hyun-woo turned back to his officers. Contact Earth government immediately. Tell them we need an emergency meeting of all world leaders within the hour. Admiral, Yujin said carefully, even if every nation agrees to help, our fleet is tiny compared to the Ravak horde. Intelligence reports say they have over 10,000 ships. And the trip to Kepler system would take our entire fleet, Jinho added. We would be leaving Earth defenseless. Han-woo nodded. I know the risks. But since when have humans ever walked away from people who need help? 2 hours later, Han-woo stood in the Global Defense Council chambers watching as leaders from every nation on Earth appeared on screens around the room. The president of Korea spoke first, followed by leaders from America, Europe, Africa, and Asia. One by one they cast their votes. The decision was unanimous. Earth would send its entire fleet to save the Velani. News of the decision spread across the galaxy within hours. Alien species could not believe what they were hearing. The new humans were going to challenge the unstoppable Ravak horde to save complete strangers. Most aliens thought humans had lost their minds. In the shipyards above Earth, crews worked day and night to prepare the fleet. The flagship TSS Indomitable was loaded with enough supplies for a long campaign. 200 ships would carry 50,000 humans across the galaxy on what many believed was a suicide mission. Hyun-woo stood on the bridge of the Indomitable as Earth fell away below them. So Min joined him at the window. Do you think we can really stop them? She asked. The Ravak have never fought humans before, Hyun-woo replied. They do not know what we are capable of. Far ahead in the darkness of space, the Kepler system waited. The Villani were still sending their desperate messages into the void, not knowing that help was finally coming. The human fleet jumped too. Faster than light speed, racing against time to reach them before it was too late, the galaxy was about to learn what happened when you threatened innocent people in front of Deathworlders. The human fleet moved through space faster than anyone thought possible. Captain Jinho Kim sat in the pilot's seat of his scout ship watching the stars blur past outside his window. The quantum tunnel drives that Earth engineers had built were supposed to be impossible according to galactic science. But humans had learned to build impossible things by studying the most dangerous places on their homeworld. Fleet Command, this is Scout 1, Jinho spoke into his radio. We are approaching the edge of Kepler system. Beginning reconnaissance sweep now. Admiral Hyun-woo's voice crackled back through the speakers. Copy Scout 1. Be careful out there, Jinho. We do not know what we are flying into. Jinho pushed his ship forward while his sensors searched the darkness ahead. What he saw made his blood run cold. Thousands of red dots appeared on his screen as the computer counted enemy vessels. The Ravak horde was even larger than Earth intelligence had predicted. Fleet Command, Jinho said in a quiet voice. You need to see this. He transmitted his sensor data back to the main fleet. On the bridge of the Indomitable, Admiral Hyun-woo watched the tactical display fill with enemy ships. Commander Eugene Choi whistled softly as she counted the red markers. Over 10,000 ships, she said. They brought everything they have. Dr. So-min Lee was monitoring alien communications from her station. Her face went pale as she translated the intercepted messages. Admiral, the Ravak are discussing humans in their battle chatter. They are calling us soft flesh from a garden world. Their commander thinks we will run away when we see the size of their fleet. Hyun-woo studied the enemy formation. The Ravak ships were big and ugly with sharp metal spikes covering their hulls. They looked like space-going predators built only for destruction. But there was something about their movement patterns that seemed predictable. Jinho, can you get closer to their command ships without being detected? Hyun-woo asked. Already on it, sir, Jinho replied as he guided his small ship between two asteroids. Using the asteroid field as cover. These rocks will hide my ship signature. Jinho moved his scout ship deeper into Ravak territory. The enemy vessels were so large they ignored the small asteroids floating around them. Human ships were built to be fast and clever, while Ravak ships were built to be strong and frightening. As Jinho watched, he saw Ravak ships firing massive energy beams down at the planet below. The beautiful blue world that the Villani called home was covered in dark smoke clouds. Cities that had taken centuries to build were being destroyed in minutes. "They are not just conquering the planet," Jinho reported back. "They are completely destroying it. Nothing will be left alive when they finish." On the planet's surface, Dr. Somin had established contact with the surviving Villani leadership. The aliens were hiding in deep underground bunkers while their world burned above them. Their leader was an elderly Villani named Keeper Molan, who spoke in a weak, tired voice. "Dr. Somin, we cannot believe you actually came," Molan said through the communication link. "No species has ever traveled so far to help strangers before. Why would humans risk everything for people you have never met?" Somin felt tears in her eyes as she watched the destruction happening on her screens. Because it is the right thing to do. Humans cannot watch innocent people suffer and do nothing about it. "But you are so few and they are so many," Molan replied. "Your sacrifice will be remembered, but it will not save us." Back on the scout ship, Jinho continued studying the enemy fleet. He noticed something interesting about how the Ravak ships moved. They stayed in perfect formations and followed the same attack patterns over and over. Every ship did exactly what the command vessel told it to do, with no creativity or independent thinking. "Fleet Command, I think I found something important," Jinho transmitted. "The Ravak fight like a machine. Every ship follows the exact same rules. They have never fought an enemy that thinks differently than they do." Commander Yujin understood immediately. They expect us to fight like every other species they have conquered. Predictable formations, logical strategies, everything by the book. "But humans do not fight by the book," Admiral Hyun-woo said with a slight smile. "We fight like we live on Earth. We adapt, we improvise, we do whatever it takes to survive." The human fleet moved into position at the edge of the asteroid field. The 200 Earth ships looked tiny compared to the massive Ravak armada. But Admiral Hyun-woo had spent years studying how humans had survived on their dangerous homeworld. Earth had taught them that size and strength were not always the most important things in a fight. "All ships, this is Admiral Hyun-woo," he broadcast to the entire fleet. "We are about to face an enemy that has never lost a battle. They think they know how space combat works. They think all species fight the same way. They are about to learn. What happens when you threaten innocent people in front of humans from Earth?" The Ravak commander detected the approaching human fleet and sent a mocking transmission on all frequencies. The alien voice was deep and cruel as it spoke in broken human language. "Tiny soft things from Garden World, you come here to die for. Plant eaters. We will crush your small ships and eat your bones. Run away now or become food for the Horde." Admiral Hyun-woo opened a channel back to the Ravak commander. "This is Admiral Hyun-woo Park of the Terran Defense Fleet. You have exactly one chance to stop your attack on the Villani people and leave this system peacefully." The Ravak commander's laughter echoed through space. "Foolish Garden World creature. We are 10,000 ships. You are 200. We have conquered 12 civilizations. You have conquered nothing. Prepare to join the Villani in death." "Sir," Captain Jinho called from his scout position, "Ravak ships are moving to intercept us. They are forming up in standard battle formation." "Just like I predicted." Commander Yujin activated the fleet's tactical systems. "All ships report ready for combat. Special operations teams are standing by." Dr. Somin opened communication channels to broadcast on all frequencies. "Admiral, I have an idea. What if we show them exactly what kind of world we come from?" Hyun-woo nodded to her. "Do it." Somin began transmitting recordings from Earth. The sounds of massive thunderstorms, volcanic eruptions, hurricane winds, and predator calls filled the communication channels. The audio was mixed with images of Earth's most dangerous places, active volcanoes, deep ocean trenches, Arctic blizzards, and dense jungles filled with deadly creatures. The effect on the Ravak fleet was immediate. Their formations wavered as Ship commanders tried to understand what they were seeing and hearing. These humans came from a world that seemed designed to kill everything living on it. What kind of species could survive in such a place? All ships, Admiral Hyanwu commanded, engage the enemy, show them what Deathworlders can do. The human fleet dove toward the asteroid field while the Ravak horde moved to meet them. The battle for Villani Prime was about to begin. The first human ships dove into the asteroid field like dolphins swimming through ocean waves. Captain Jinho twisted his fighter between massive floating rocks while Ravak energy beams missed him by inches. The enemy expected him to fly in straight lines like every other species they had fought. Instead, Jinho spun and rolled his ship in patterns he had learned from watching birds dodge through Earth's worst storms. "This is Scout 1, Jinho called over the radio while dodging another. "Energy blast. The Ravak weapons are powerful but slow. They cannot hit targets that move unpredictably." Admiral Hyanwu stood on the bridge of the Indomitable watching the battle unfold on his screens. The Ravak ships moved in perfect formation like a massive school of fish. Every vessel stayed exactly where it was supposed to be and fired exactly when it was supposed to fire. "Commander Yujin, take your team and show them what humans do when the rules do not work." Hyanwu ordered. Yujin grinned as she ran toward the shuttle bay. "Yes, sir. Time to teach these aliens about Deathworld fighting." Her special operations team climbed into small fast ships that could move through the asteroid field like insects flying through a forest. While the main fleets exchanged fire, Yujin's team used the floating rocks as stepping stones to get close to enemy vessels. Dr. Somin continued broadcasting Earth sounds into Ravak communication channels. The recordings of massive earthquakes and roaring predators were having a strange effect on the enemy fleet. Ravak ship commanders kept asking each other what kind of nightmare world the humans came from. "Admiral," Somin reported, "the psychological warfare is working. Ravak commanders are starting to question their orders. They have never fought enemies from a world more dangerous than their own." The battle raged through the asteroid field as human ships used tactics that confused the Ravak completely. Engineer One-Seek Han turned his cargo vessel into a weapon by filling it with mining explosives and ramming it into a Ravak cruiser. The explosion tore through the enemy hull like it was made of paper. "All human vessels," One-Seek called out before his sacrifice, "remember that we are not just fighting for the Villani. We are fighting to show the galaxy what humans can do." Captain Jinho watched his friend's ship explode and felt anger burning in his chest. He pushed his fighter toward the largest Ravak vessel he could find and began firing at its weapon systems. The enemy ship was 50 times bigger than his small fighter, but Jinho had grown up watching tiny creatures on Earth defeat much larger predators through speed and intelligence. The Ravak vessel turned its massive guns toward Jinho's fighter, but he was already gone, diving under the ship's hull and attacking from below. Human pilots had learned to fight in 3 dimensions. While most alien species only thought in flat battle lines, Commander Yujin's team reached their target, a Ravak command ship that was directing the enemy's battle plans. Her soldiers used magnetic boots to walk on the outside of the enemy hull while wearing spacesuits, designed for Earth's most extreme environments. "Cutting through their armor now," Yujin reported as her team used plasma torches to burn holes in the Ravak ship. "These aliens build strong ships, but they do not expect borders." Inside the Ravak command vessel, Yujin's team moved through corridors filled with surprised enemies. The Ravak's warriors were large and strong, but they had never fought humans, who had trained in Earth's deadliest places. Yujin moved like a hunter from the deep jungle, while her soldiers fought with the desperate creativity of people who had learned to survive where everything wanted to kill them. The Ravak commander tried to escape, but Yujin cornered him in the ship's bridge. The alien was twice her size with thick armor and sharp claws. But Yujin had trained by fighting Earth's most dangerous predators, and she knew that size was not everything. "Surrender now and we will let you live," Yujin offered in the Ravak language that Somin had taught her. The Ravak commander laughed and charged at her with his claws extended. Yujin waited until the last second, then rolled under his attack and struck at the weak points in his armor. The alien crashed to the floor while Yujin's team took control of the bridge. "Admiral, this is Yujin," she reported. "We have captured a Ravak command ship. Their computer systems are primitive but effective. I am downloading their battle plans now." Back on the Indomitable, Admiral Hyan Wu studied the captured Ravak data. The information showed that the enemy had one major weakness. All their ships were controlled by a single master computer that told every vessel exactly what to do. If that computer was destroyed, the entire fleet would be helpless. "Somin, where is their master control ship?" Hyan Wu asked Dr. Somin. Analyzed the data while explosions lit up the space around them. "It is the largest vessel in their fleet, hidden behind 3 layers of escort ships. The Ravak commander wanted to stay safe while his fleet did the fighting." "Jinho, can you reach that ship?" Hyan Wu called to his best pilot. Captain Jinho looked at his fuel gauge and weapon systems. His fighter was damaged from the battle but still able to fly. "I can get there, sir, but it will be a one-way trip. That ship is protected by hundreds of escorts." "No," Admiral Hyan Wu said firmly. "We do this together. All human ships prepare for final assault on the Ravak command vessel." The remaining human fleet formed up around the Indomitable as they pushed deeper into enemy territory. Ravak ships swarmed around them like angry wasps, but the humans had learned something important during the battle. Earth had taught them that sometimes the only way to win was to risk everything. Human ships began using desperate tactics that no sane military would attempt. Cargo vessels rammed into enemy cruisers. Medical ships fired their emergency supplies like weapons. Even the cooking staff on some ships were throwing kitchen knives at Ravak borders. The Ravak fleet started falling back in confusion. They had conquered 12 civilizations, but they had never fought enemies who became more dangerous when they were losing. Every other species followed military rules even when they were dying. Humans threw away the rules and fought with pure survival instinct. Dr. Somin monitored enemy communications and heard something that made her smile. Ravak commanders were calling for retreat. The unstoppable horde that had never lost a battle was running away from 200 human ships. "Admiral," Somin reported, "the Rav are asking each other what kind of monsters we are. They cannot understand why we keep fighting when we should be dead." Admiral Hyan Wu looked out at the battle raging around his ship. Human vessels were outnumbered 50-1, but they were winning through sheer determination and creativity. The Ravak had made one fatal mistake. They had threatened innocent people in front of humans from Earth. "All ships, target the Ravak." "Command vessel," Hyan Wu ordered. "End this war now." The human fleet dove toward the massive enemy ship like a pack of wolves attacking a giant predator. The final battle was about to begin. The massive Ravak command ship loomed ahead like a metal mountain floating in space. Admiral Hyan Wu guided the Indomitable through waves of enemy fire while his remaining fleet followed behind him. Half of the human ships had been destroyed in the battle, but the survivors fought with the desperate courage of people who refused to give up. "Admiral," Dr. Somin called from her station, "the Ravak warlord is sending us a transmission. He wants to speak with you directly." The main screen flickered and showed a terrifying alien face covered in scars and metal implants. The Ravak warlord had been fighting wars for over a century and had never met an enemy he could not crush. His voice was filled with rage and confusion. "Human leader, what kind of devils are you?" the warlord demanded. "My horde has destroyed civilizations across the galaxy. We have weapons that can crack planets and ships that blot out the stars. Why do you keep fighting when you should be dead?" Admiral Hyan Wu stood straight on his bridge while explosions lit up the space around his ship. "We keep fighting because innocent people asked for our help. Humans do not abandon those who need us." The warlord laughed, but there was no humor in the sound. "You are fools? Your tiny fleet cannot defeat the might of the Ravak horde. Surrender now, and I will give you quick deaths." Counteroffer, Hyun-woo replied calmly. You and I settle this with single ship combat. Winner takes all, your massive fleet against my one ship. The transmission went silent for several seconds. The concept of single combat was unknown to the Ravak, who always fought with overwhelming numbers. But the warlord's pride would not let him refuse a direct challenge. You think your small human ship can defeat my battle fortress? The warlord snarled. Very well. I will crush you myself and show the galaxy what happens to those who oppose the Horde. Captain Jinho's voice crackled over the radio from his damaged fighter. Admiral, that ship is 50 times bigger than the Indomitable. Its weapons could destroy us with one shot. Size is not everything, Jinho, Hyun-woo replied. Earth taught us that the biggest predator is not always the strongest. The human fleet pulled back to give the two command ships room to fight. Admiral Hyun-woo took manual control of the Indomitable and felt the familiar weight of responsibility settle on his shoulders. Every human in the fleet was watching. Every Villani hiding on the planet below was praying. The entire galaxy would remember what happened in the next few minutes. The Ravak battle fortress opened fire with weapons that could level mountains. Massive energy beams tore through space where the Indomitable had been just seconds before. But Admiral Hyun-woo was no longer there. He had learned to pilot ships by studying how small creatures on Earth avoided much larger predators. The Indomitable danced around the enemy fire like a hummingbird avoiding a giant's fist. Hyun-woo used every asteroid and piece of debris as cover while slowly moving closer to the massive enemy ship. The Ravak warlord fired again and again but could not hit the fast-moving human vessel. Impossible, the warlord screamed over the radio. No ship can move like that. What kind of pilot are you? I am a human from Earth, Hyun-woo replied as he dove under the enemy ship's belly. I learned to fly by watching birds survive in the worst storms our world could create. The Indomitable's weapons were tiny compared to the Ravak ship's armor, but Hyun-woo was not trying to destroy the fortress with firepower. He was looking for weak points the way a small predator would hunt. Something much larger than itself. Commander Yujin's voice came over the radio from inside the captured Ravak vessel. Admiral, I found something in their computer files. The battle fortress has a weakness. There is an exhaust port that leads directly to the main reactor. If you can hit it with a precise shot, the whole ship will explode. Where is this port? Hyun-woo asked while dodging another barrage of enemy fire. On the underside of the ship, protected by a narrow trench. You would have to fly through their defensive grid and make a perfect shot while moving at full speed. Captain Jinho understood immediately. Admiral, that is suicide. The defensive guns in that trench will tear any ship apart. Admiral Hyun-woo thought about the desperate Villani messages they had received back on Earth. He thought about all the innocent people who had died while the galaxy did nothing. He thought about one Sikh Han and all the other humans who had already sacrificed everything to be here. Jinho, take command of the fleet if I do not make it back, Hyun-woo ordered. Get our people home safely. Sir, please reconsider, Jinho begged. The decision is made, Hyun-woo replied. All human ships? This is Admiral Hyun-woo Park making my final run. Whatever happens next, remember that we came here because it was the right thing to do. The Indomitable accelerated toward the massive enemy ship while defensive weapons fired from every direction. Hyun-woo flew through the storm of energy beams using every trick he had learned from Earth's most skilled pilots. His ship took hit after hit but kept flying toward the target. The exhaust port appeared ahead like a tiny dot on the massive fortress. Hyun-woo had one chance to make the shot before the defensive guns destroyed his ship. He thought about his home planet with its dangerous weather and deadly creatures. Earth had taught humans to survive impossible situations by never giving up. Hyun-woo fired his remaining weapons at the exhaust port just as his ship was torn apart by enemy fire. For a moment nothing happened. Then a chain reaction began deep inside the Ravak fortress as the reactor overloaded. The massive battle fortress exploded in a ball of fire that lit up the entire star system. The Ravak warlord and his command staff died instantly. Without their leader and master computer, the remaining Horde ships scattered in panic. Captain Jinho watched the explosion from his fighter and felt tears running down his face. Admiral Haiyan Wu has destroyed the enemy command ship, he reported to the fleet. The Ravak Horde is retreating. Down on the planet, the surviving Villani emerged from their underground shelters to see the human fleet victorious in the sky above. Dr. So-min received hundreds of messages from grateful Villani who could not believe that strangers from across the galaxy had saved their world. The news of the human victory spread across the galaxy faster than light-speed communication could carry it. The story grew with each telling until it became legend. A small fleet from the Death World called Earth had defeated the unstoppable Ravak Horde and saved an entire civilization. Species that had never heard of humans suddenly wanted to know everything about these mysterious Deathworlders. The Galactic Council was forced to acknowledge Earth as a major power. Trade routes shifted as civilizations sought either alliance or protection from the humans who had done the impossible. Captain Jinho was promoted to admiral and given command of the expanded Terran fleet. Commander Yujin established the first academy to teach other species about human military tactics. Dr. So-min became Earth's chief ambassador to dozens of grateful alien worlds. But the most important change was in how the galaxy thought about helping others. The phrase, "send the Deathworlders," became shorthand for impossible rescue missions. Hundreds of oppressed species sent messages to Earth asking for help against stronger enemies, standing in the rebuilt command center on Earth. The new Admiral Jinho looked at the flood of distress calls coming from across the galaxy. Each message represented people who needed help against forces they could not fight alone. Jin-Ho thought about Admiral Haiyan Wu's final words and smiled. Humans had never been able to ignore a call for help. They had become the galaxy's protectors. Not because they sought power, but because they could not stand to watch innocent people suffer. The legend of the Deathworlders had only just begun.